Abortion is Black genocide. Join us in the conversation. Let's reverse engineer. Why is it like in the state of New York, there are more Black babies being murdered in the womb than are alive? So the words of Margaret Sanger has turned out to be prophetic. And also the abortion agenda is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Give it up for her. That's great.
So I am Felicia Bell. Welcome to Sophisticated Logic. So my first guest, I was just going back and forth. How do I introduce such an amazing woman? So I'm just going to tell you guys what she means to me. This incredible woman, her reputation truly does precedes her. She is a warrior. She is unapologetic. She is filled with so much wisdom and knowledge about this thing called abortion. And when I was a keyboard warrior, before I started being more courageous, I'm like, you know what? Who can I look to gain some strength and really on how to do this? And I just simply went to Google and I Googled Black pro-life warriors, and this incredible woman popped up, and I started to follow her work, and I was just truly blown away. The blood, sweat, and tears, personal finances that this amazing woman has done. And not only that, she pours into people like myself that has joined the fight. So I can go on and on and on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Miss Catherine Davis. How are you doing today, Miss Catherine?
I am well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, the pleasure is truly mine. So, like I said, I wanted to listen. Let's turn this over to you. If you can let the viewers know about who you are and what you do.
I am Catherine Davis. I'm the president and founder of the Restoration Project, which is a pro-life, pro-family, pro-education organization that specifically focuses on public policy and how it impacts the Black community. I've been doing this for a very long time, educating about first abortion, but then other policies that have impacted our families over the years and that have impacted the educational structure over the years. So that's who I am. And that's what I
Awesome.
do.
That is amazing. So listen, for folks like yourself, and I like to say me as well, it really does not matter the time of the year, what is going on. This is a mandate that God has placed on our hearts to truly be the hands and feet of Jesus and fight for these precious babies, right? But if you have not been living under a rock, you know that we are in the throes, in the height of election season. And we have a particular political party and organizations that it seems to be abortion is foundation. It is the be all end all with these folks. So with that being said, Miss Catherine, can you let people know what abortion really is in a way that only you can break down?
Abortion is a tool of genocide in our nation, not only of the Black community, increasingly the Caucasian community as well, but the greatest impact that abortion has been in the Black community. Many people know the name Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
Everybody knows the name Margaret Sanger.
Yes.
She launched what she called the Negro Project in 1939 to pay Black ministers and others of influence to teach and preach birth control from the pulpit. What most people don't know, however, is the name Alan Guttmacher. Alan took over Planned Parenthood in 1962 after Margaret retired. She didn't die right away. I think she died in 1964, but she turned the helm of the organization over to Alan Guttmacher. And Alan was the vice president of the American Eugenics Society at the same time that he was the president of Planned Parenthood. Henry Kissinger, of all people, called Guttmacher one of the most knowledgeable and active population suppression experts of all time. So that tells you who took over Planned Parenthood. His whole reasoning was to control, especially the Black birth rate. His wife tells this story that he went on the segregated ward of Johns Hopkins Hospital maternity ward in Johns Hopkins back in the 1940s. And when he saw all the babies that the Black women were having, he purposed it in his heart. I have to do something about this. This is a population explosion. We need to take care of it. And so his whole motivation, if you will, was to control the Black birth rate, and he was going to do it through abortion.
Now, Miss Catherine, and I am so glad because we definitely need to hear about the other names and the people behind the Black genocide, that is known as abortion. But because Margaret Sanger is the name that people hear most is Margaret Sanger, even for the folks who advocate and say that they are pro-choice. Can you tell the viewers, just share a little bit about Margaret Sanger's heart and where she stood and how she really felt about Black people, people of color?
Well, I think that she, like Guttmacher, wanted to control the Black birth rate. The difference between the two of them was Sanger was more about birth control and sterilization. So you may know the name Elaine Riddick.
Yeah.
Elaine was raped when she was 13 years
Yeah.
old. She had her son when she was 14. Well, in about 30
And she
states
was native to
across,
North Carolina,
she
right?
was in North
Yes,
Carolina.
she is.
She
Yes.
was.
Yes.
And she at 14 when she had her baby, the North Carolina Eugenics Board, and there were about 30 of them across the nation. They promoted that she was feeble-minded,
Yes.
and so they should sterilize her. So they sterilized her when she delivered her son at 14. He was the only child she was able to have. Well, that was a Margaret Sanger type initiative. She was all about sterilizing people. She was all about birth control. In fact, she literally paid for the development of the first birth control
Wow.
pill.
So what is it? Is it safe to say she was a devout racist? Just it is not my opinion. Just based on her own writings and interviews and publications.
Yes,
Go
she
ahead.
was. She
Yeah.
was a racist, and her organization was racist
Yeah.
or is racist, not was. In 2020, they announced that they are a systemically racist white supremacist organization. They confessed that they have caused reproductive harm to women of color.
Yeah.
So yes, Margaret Sanger was the foundation, if you will, of racism in that organization. And yes, she did meet with the women of the KKK, promote her
Yes.
ideology. Um, but the interesting thing is, she didn't believe in abortion.
Please
And that
elaborate.
was
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
That was one truth that Planned Parenthood told.
Okay.
She wanted to just sterilize people or give them birth control, but she wasn't an active proponent of abortion. That was Guttmacher. Because if you go back and you look,
I did not know that.
yes, the National Institute of Health actually published two studies that said if you want to reduce the population of a group, you have to do it through widespread abortion. Our governments acknowledge that. So the idea of genocide came through the abortion piece of it because they couldn't birth control us or sterilize us out of existence. However,
Yeah.
they are still promoting those same policies that Margaret launched. They still promote birth control. They still promote sterilization. In fact, at the recent Democrat National Convention,
Oh my
they
word.
had
Yeah.
an actual mobile unit out in front to give free abortions and
Remarkable.
free vasectomies. So now they are coming for Black men.
Yes.
They are targeting, putting the target that they had on Black women's backs for so long. They're now sharing the
The
target in
brazenness and just the
Black
fact
men.
that
Yeah.
it is no longer having these secret meetings behind closed doors or it is they are just bold in your face. So but because of Margaret Sanger and guys, everything that Miss Catherine is talking about, these things are factual. This is facts. These things that can be researched, that can be proven, that are irrefutable. So that goes without being said. It really explains why that and Miss Catherine, you can come in and help me with the numbers here, but it is in the high 80 percentile that the majority of not only Planned Parenthoods but all abortion clinics and facilities are primarily situated strategically, I like to say, in communities of color. What you say?
Yeah, deliberately put. Planned
Deliberately. Better
Parenthood
word.
facilities are deliberately placed in Black and now increasingly Latino communities. But if you look at their new construction that they've been doing, 80% of what they call a mega Planned Parenthood, 10,000 square feet or larger, 80% of them are in Black
We
neighborhoods
have one
alone.
of those here in the beautiful city of Charlotte. It is
Yes.
it's a mega, and really quickly, if I can hop in here, it is a beautiful, before they put those wretched word title Planned Parenthood, you would think it is a facility to go get facials. It's a beautiful building. It is literally sparkling white. The grounds are absolutely beautiful. The building itself is beautiful. And I think it is 10,000 square feet, like you were saying. So, and it was, like you said, deliberately placed in a historical Black community called Cherry Hill. So I've only been in the Queen City for about 4 years, but that is a story that crossed my path almost right away when I touched down. The story about how the Planned Parenthood, the mega Planned Parenthood, was deliberately placed, and how they went about doing it was very deceptive, very wicked. They lied to the community because I think it is like 80% or even more of the residents that lives in that community, Cherry Hill, if I'm not mistaken, that are 70 plus. They, for the most part, are senior citizens. They've been living in that community for 50 plus years. And there is also a church that has been in the community for even longer. And the pastor, the senior pastor of that church, has been pastoring that church for many, many years, more than 50 years is what I was told. And the people came in and lied. They was door to door telling the community that, hey, we are here. We would love to place a women's health facility. And the way that they promoted it was to just, hey, we just want to help women. But at the 11th hour, when the residents of the community actually found out that it was going to be a Planned Parenthood, it was too late. It was nothing that they can do. Now, mind you, they had taken in these people, they had church with them, prayed for the so-called women's health center or medical facility, and turned out all along it was Planned Parenthood. So those, I mean, unfortunately, that's one of many, many stories I've heard about some of the malicious, deceptive ways that these abortuaries, like you so call them, have been placed in Black and brown communities. So, Ms. Catherine, can you let the viewers know, and this is something that we could go on, but can you let the viewers know the impacts abortion has had and that is continuing to have within the Black community?
Absolutely. So you are exactly right. You described the process by which Planned Parenthood in these days goes into a community.
Yeah.
They pulled the permits to construct under a third entity, a LLC, that no one would recognize was associated with or connected to Planned Parenthood. And then after the construction was complete, they put their name on the building. They are doing that all over the country. So why are they doing that? Again, it gets to controlling the Black birth rate. If you look at the numbers of abortions in any state, doesn't matter what state you pick, you are going to find that Black women proportionally get more abortions than other ethnicities in that community, even in communities where there may be only 2 or 3% of the population are Black women. You will find that 15 to 30% of the abortions in that community are on the Black woman. For example, here, I live in Georgia. 66% of the abortions in the state of Georgia are performed on Black women.
Unbelievable.
Georgia had
Unbelievable.
14 abortion centers. 11 of the centers were located in metro Atlanta. There's one in Columbus, one in Augusta, and one in Savannah. But the rest of the abortion centers in our state are in the metro Atlanta area. 66% of the abortions, and this includes on women that come into Georgia to get their abortion. Now, we had the heartbeat bill passed back in 2018. So everyone was celebrating finally people would not be able to get an abortion in our state once the heartbeat was detected. So the expectation was that we were going to see a considerable drop
Yeah.
in the number of abortions. Well, that was anything but the truth. not only did we not see a significant drop, we still are a destination state. In
Oh,
other words,
wow.
people are coming into Georgia
Yeah.
to terminate the lives of their children.
Yeah.
And Georgia is just one example, but you can look around the nation and you will see that same percentage of women who are getting the abortions are from the Black community. And again, depending on their size in any community, it is usually two, three, four times sometimes their presence in that population. And it's because we get messaged to. Every
Yes.
time there's an issue with abortion, it doesn't matter what the truth is, they are going to lead that Black women are being denied access, that Black women are being isolated and put in a category by themselves because abortion is being regulated. Just yesterday, I received an email from someone asking me to look at it because they wanted to try to find this family. There was a young woman who was pregnant, and she actually came to North Carolina
Yeah. We are a
because of
huge
Georgia's
destination. Yeah.
heartbeat
Yeah.
bill. She went to North Carolina and got the abortion pills. She came back home. She took the pills, came back home, and the entire baby did not come out of her
Oh, my
body.
Lord.
So she ended up with sepsis.
Yes.
The headline of this article was that because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, she died. It didn't have anything to do with the heartbeat bill,
No.
other than she couldn't go because she was 9 weeks at
Yeah.
that point. So she had to go to another state, but she could still get an abortion.
Abortion. That's how they do. They are so cunning and so wicked, and they can take the
Yes.
truth and they can twist that thing and manipulate that thing, and that's what they do. And really quickly, I wanted to so they have positioned North Carolina to be the largest abortion hub in the southeast corridor. So we had a bill that was passed, I think it was last year.
Last year.
Yes, ma'am, in the 12-week. And and we knew, myself as well as others, we was readying ourselves because we knew that the fight had only begun, and there has been a huge uptick, for lack of better words, of women that is coming across the country right here to Charlotte to take the lives of their babies. So, absolutely. So, let me ask, Miss Catherine. I'm telling you, I get mad, like get real mad, real mad. I'm hurt, dismayed, and I'm disgusted at times. Just a plethora of emotions that I go through consistently. But what is it? Why abortion? What is it about this abortion thing that the Democrats and their supporters, and particularly, this may be a loaded question, Black people, why abortion? Why push this abortion thing like it is everything?
Well, for people who were denied access for many, many years, we had Jim Crow.
Yeah,
So we couldn't sleep in the same hotels. We couldn't drink out the water fountains and use their nasty bathrooms.
yeah,
So that's what the civil rights movement was about. Access to public life.
yeah,
What the abortion industry has done extremely successfully is analogize the right to take the life of the child to those same civil rights that the Black community didn't have after slavery,
yeah,
right? And so when you are telling a group of people who have been denied a right that you are now going to deny them another right, then you can get us emotionally engaged.
Yeah. So they
Okay.
attach it to something that
So
is
they
real.
attach
They
it
exploit
to,
the plight
yes,
of the Black people. And
yes.
that's yeah.
And they use us as the example because for so long we didn't have equal rights in this country.
Yeah.
And so it was very easy for them to attach this right, which they say is akin to a civil right, to take the life of the child, which is why we need to move the needle on personhood.
Yeah.
Because the same principles that the courts used to say that Black people in America were property are the same principles they are using today to promote abortion as an answer to every problem. You know, the
Yes.
biggest fight we have in the Black community with each other is um, our social justice concerns. You don't
Yes.
care about the children once they are born. You don't care about women. You don't care. You just
Which are
pro
all
baby,
lies. All
right?
lies.
All lies.
All
Because if
lies.
you look at it, if you don't have a regard for life in the womb, you are not going to have a regard for life that you can see walking around. And we are living that out now.
Yeah.
But the huge issue is something that actually members of the Black Caucus warned the nation about back in the 1960s
Sure did.
when Margaret finally had uh, developed her birth control pill. They told us this is genocide. We don't want this in our community. Can you believe Jesse Jackson was actually pro life?
Yes, he
And
was.
he wrote many articles for the National Right to Life talking about the genocide of the Black community. Well, today it is absolutely genocide. And in fact, we are no longer having enough babies to reproduce ourselves.
Yeah.
And what that means is, you know, many people believe we are somewhere between 12 and 14% of the population. Well, that's not true. And I don't care how many census stats they publish, it's not true. Why is it
Okay.
not true? Because we're not having babies.
Yeah.
We are aborting more of our children than we are having. In order for us to stay, let's say the 12 or 14%, every woman of childbearing age would have to have 2.1 children
Yeah.
just to stay at that level. No growth, right?
Yeah.
Well, today it is absolutely genocide, and we are almost at the point of irreversibility, meaning,
I want to pause you on that.
okay,
Can you? Because this is what I was waiting for, and I just want to say it myself. Irreversibility. I want to say that again. Irreversibility. Okay, Miss Catherine, you got it.
so in order for us to stay, whatever the percentage of the population we are today, every woman, Black woman of childbearing age would have to have 2.1 children.
So I'm contributing. That's the first thing when she found out, Miss Catherine found out how many, she was like, good, you have contributed. I said,
You've
yes,
contributed to
yes,
our
ma'am.
growth,
Yes.
you know. But we are at 1.4. 1.3 children per every Black woman of childbearing age is irreversible, meaning it would take more than 25 years, 30 years, 40 years for us to come even back to
Back.
where they say we are today. Um, so we have to have a hard stop on aborting our children. We need for our community. And listen, it's not just the Black community. The Black community is almost at
We're
irreversibility.
just leading the
But the
charge, but that's
Caucasian,
across the spectrum, right?
yes,
We're just
we're
leading.
leading
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
because the white community is at 1.6.
Wow.
So none of us are having enough children to reproduce
To
ourselves.
sustain our
And
society.
I
Yeah.
want people to understand that if we don't have a hard stop, there won't be any children for you to have, or people for you to have social justice
Or
concerns
they talk
about.
about voters' right. We're
Voters' right.
aborting
There
our
won't be any
we are
voters.
aborting our future voters.
That's right. We
Literally.
are our voters, we talk about criminal justice reform. There won't be any black criminals because we're not having babies.
Babies.
There won't, we want better education. We want school choice. We absolutely do. But if there's no children to go into those schools for school choice, and that's what they're not allowing us to see. So, one of the things that this massive influx of people across our border
Speak
has
on it.
done is disguised the genocide. It's helped mask it. So,
Yes.
because we still see a lot of people walking around, right? We
Yes.
still see children walking around, even though we know that many of those coming across our borders are sex trafficking those children. But it's masking the genocidal devastation to our population. And again, the NIH, the National Institute of Health,
Of health.
said if
Yeah.
you want to control a population, you have to get it to less than 1%, and the only way you can do that is through abortion.
Is through abortion.
They
So
called Guttmacher, Henry Kissinger called Guttmacher the expert at population suppression. Look at what he did in our community.
and it's all there in writings, their true
It's
intentions
there.
and
That's
their
right.
hearts. Yeah.
You can research it.
You
You
can. It
can
is
you
there.
can look up the facts.
It's there. And I
It's there.
tell people it is not a hyperbole. I wish it was. I'm not being fantastical in saying that we have almost aborted ourselves into oblivion.
That's
And we know that there is what strength in numbers.
yes.
What are some of the things that if you are on the other side, if you are one who have hook, line, and sinker bought into a woman's right, everything that all of this poisonous and these lies and deceptions that they have put out there and you have bought into it, whether you're on that spectrum or you know it's wrong, but you are still fearful of pushing back or saying anything because of what other family members may say or coworkers or friends and families, or if you are looking to put boots on the ground, what would you say to those three different groups of people in terms of really exposing themselves to the real truth? And I say the real truth because the world says, what is your truth? The real truth about this thing that they call, I think abortion is such a kind word too, by the way. You abort a mission, you abort a plan, but babies we kill. What would you say, Miss Catherine?
Well, I think we're at the point in this nation and in the world, it's
Yeah.
not just America, because this population control ideology is permeating the entire world, led by the international Planned Parenthood, who had such great success with us. They're now going to the continent and telling many of the nations in Africa, if you want American money, you have to accept abortion.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
it's an overall ideology to destroy those who are made in the image and likeness of God.
There it is.
We truly want to not have children. You don't have to get pregnant and kill your child. The Bible calls it a time of life. There's only a very narrow window of time
Yes.
when you can even get pregnant.
Yes.
And the Bible called it the time of life. In modern terminology, Take out your iPhone, your whatever phone you have,
Mhm.
and you can download an app that will tell you exactly when you're fertile.
Mm.
It will tell you this is your window of opportunity to get pregnant. Just don't have sex
Exactly.
when you're fertile. If you don't want children, you don't have to kill the child
It's not
in
difficult.
order to exercise your right, your freedom over your body. Um, Simply, just don't have sex when you're fertile. But we have uh, introduced a culture to a way of life that says um, you can get pregnant and have no consequence for taking the life of that innocent child in the womb. So today, I would say I want accountability
Yeah.
from Planned Parenthood because they are the primary organization that
Yes.
has launched this attack against Black women and their
They're
children.
leading the charge.
Um,
Yes.
they're leading the charge around the world. I want them to give every Black woman of childbearing age restitution.
There you go.
They acknowledged in 2020 that they are systemically racist. They acknowledged that they're based on a foundation of white supremacy. They acknowledge their words, not mine, that they have caused reproductive harm to women of color. We know that Margaret Sanger had the Negro Project, which did not go away
No, it did not.
at her death. It was on steroids after her death because Guttmacher then was taking it and placing their facilities in our neighborhoods. They were getting a handful of usually darker skinned sisters to put before the camera to say, this is something that we need. They changed their whole messaging to this idea that abortion is health care in order to sell it in our community. Well, then they should be accountable.
Yes,
And every
absolutely.
company that has funded them in targeting Black women and their babies should be held accountable. And I could show you the list. There's hundreds of these companies that we support, Nike and
Yeah.
Jiffy
The
Lube,
some of
and
the most recognizable national and world brands
yes,
that are like staples in our
yes,
homes
yes.
that is supporting this wickedness, and it we can hit this thing on so many levels from so many different angles, and I'm definitely going to be having you back, but can you tell us more specifically about your amazing organization and
Yes,
the
my
name?
organization is focused right now on three things. We need to end the targeting that Planned Parenthood is doing in our community. So we have asked the Congress to investigate Planned Parenthood. How on earth did they get almost 2 billion with a B taxpayer dollars when they have acknowledged that they're a white supremacist
They
organization?
have acknowledged, they have actually
They have.
publicly, yes, they have.
Yes. How are they getting taxpayer money, any taxpayer money? So we want them investigated and we want them defunded. We are also, number two, asking for restitution. Every Black woman of childbearing age and above should be given $300,000 each from Planned Parenthood and all of these companies that have enabled the targeting. And then three, we want personhood now. Every person, according to the Declaration of Independence of our nation, the first inalienable right that document, that foundational document recognized was the right to life. And our Constitution after slavery We had the Dred Scott case
Yes.
that basically said Black people were property, right?
Mm.
But the nation did the 14th Amendment. The will of the people was that every person would be entitled to equal protection and due process. Um, we need that application of equal protection and due process given to our children in the womb. They are persons. They are not products of conception. They are not a clump of cells. They are little people. There's a story, real quick, of these children who were out playing and they were throwing what the neighbors thought were rocks. So the police came and asked them why they were throwing rocks. And they said, "We're not throwing rocks, we're throwing little people."
Oh,
Well, what it was an abortuary had dumped aborted babies
oh my
into a
word.
dumpster. And the kids found them and they were playing with them and throwing the babies' heads, the babies' limbs. They recognized these are little
Unbelievable.
people.
Unbelievable.
Those children could recognize it, so can we. We
Ye-
need to stop pretending that it's okay to take the life of a child, um, um, that it's okay. We have
Yes.
to stop that, hard stop. And we have to declare that we will no longer do that. We will no longer accept the termination of our children in the womb. So we
Amen.
have personhood now. It won't take another piece of legislation. It just takes the recognition of our founding documents, the
Yeah.
Declaration of Independence that declared we have an inalienable right to life, and the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which declares that every person is entitled to equal protection and due process.
And so, Miss Catherine, that is truly remarkable. And the thing is, even more remarkable, is this is not just this. The story that you just shared is not a one-off. There are so many gruesome stories that needs to be shared, and that's why it is a must that we do a part two, that I have you back, because those stories and the actual testimonies and the in what happens to a woman's body when their baby is so gruesomely and violently ripped from their bodies, and the devastations that takes the toll psychologically, mentally, physically, that happens when a woman has an abortion. And some of the stories about, you made mention of another story earlier about babies being, clogging the septic when the women are given the Plan Bs and telling them to go home, and it's likening it to mild cramps and what's really happening. And also with the thousands and thousands of women that can be documented, it's said that it's much more that have lost their lives at the hands of abortion, where uteruses are being perforated, or infections, and women dying on the cold slab of abortion tables. And these are some of the things that, when I have you back on, I really want to hit those stories of what's happening, and also with some of the just bombshells, facts and statistics and data that you have shared here. I want to give the my audience a time to kind of fact check those as well, and come back with questions, and I would love to have you to answer those questions as well. Miss Catherine, I know I just attended your amazing event. When was that? What, 2 months ago now? And
Yeah, July.
reclaiming our voices by your amazing organization, Restoration Project, correct? But where else can the viewers find you? Are you on social media, any of the social media platforms?
I am. I'm on Facebook. My thing on Facebook is the @ Evolution of the Negro Project. It will bring you to the Restoration Project's page. I am on Instagram. I am on Twitter. And I'll send those to you because I don't
Yes, no,
remember
we'll
all.
we'll have them when we'll have them in the description as well, where people can go to the links. So,
And my website is The Restoration Project, all one word, The Restoration Project .life.
awesome. And I can tell you there, for those of you who are like, no, that can't happen, or you're looking to just to get more information or to be encouraged and on ways on how to get involved, also going to Miss Catherine's her site and just checking her out. I promise you, once you get see what she's doing, you will be encouraged. There is different ways that just following her that she will show you on how to get involved. But one of the first things you can do immediately is pray, is war, and equip yourself and arm yourselves with the truth. My thing is, I don't care what it looks like, what it sounds like, what conglomerates or media groups is behind it. If I don't know for myself, listen, I question everything. Know for yourself. Pray that God removes scales from your eyes, that you can see what this thing really is, and follow amazing people like the Miss Catherine. She has given a lifetime, many years to this, and I just thank God for you, Miss Catherine. I truly do. I thank you for your correction. You know, when she's like, no, don't you say that, and I'm like, okay. And I love it, and you just mean the world to me. And thank you for saying yes to the
Thank you for
call
having me.
that God
Thank you.
has placed on your life. And I just want to invite all of you to join us in this fight for the right to life.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining in to Sophisticated Logic. Be blessed.